Yin remained awake at the side of the bedroom, anxiously gazing out the window, awaiting her husband's return. Waiting like this had become a regular occurrence since she married Jungkook. Yin knew that when Jungkook returned home at this hour, he was likely involved in his underworld business. It made her deeply worried. Finally, she breathed a sigh of relief as she spotted her husband's car pulling into the driveway through the bedroom window. Shortly after, the bedroom door opened, and Jungkook entered the room. She immediately approached him. "Hubby, why are you waiting for me? I was worried about you. You don't need to care about me anymore. Besides, you already know why I married you. I never loved you. There's only vengeance in me." Yin fell silent, feeling a pang of pain in her chest. Nevertheless, she tried to smile. "We're married now, and I'm carrying your child. I want to maintain this marriage. I can understand your feelings and your vengeance. That's why I can still love you. Until now, it's up to you. But from now on, I won't treat you the same as before, because all of that was just a mask I wore. The real me is what you see now." Jungkook immediately headed to the bathroom, no longer wanting to hear anything Yin had to say. He was tired and just wanted to clean up and sleep. Meanwhile, Yin watched the closed bathroom door with melancholy eyes. At least her husband had returned home. She then went to bed and lay down, her eyes, heavy with sleepiness, gradually closing. A few minutes later, Yin felt the bed move as her husband settled in. Despite Jungkook lying with his back to her, she managed a thin smile. Previously, Jungkook would sleep while embracing her and giving her a goodnight kiss, but now he only sleeps facing away from her. Still, she could smile faintly, grateful that her husband was willing to share a bed with her, even though he no longer touched her. Jungkook is seen making a phone call with someone. "Is everything ready? Tomorrow, I want you all to start working and don't waste any time." Jungkook sighs heavily with a tired expression before the call abruptly ends. I can't believe I'm finally doing this." Later that night, Jungkook enters the bedroom. There, he sees Yin already asleep. He approaches the bed and gazes at his sleeping wife for a while. After a few moments, he finally closes his eyes, exhaling in frustration. He leans in, pulling the blanket to cover her body perfectly. Then he plants a kiss on her forehead. Suddenly, he widens his eyes and quickly straightens up. Why did I kiss her? What a fool. Jungkook hastily heads to the bathroom, preparing for bed, not wanting Yin to wake up and catch his actions. The next morning, Yin wakes up with a faint smile on her face, perhaps because she had a pleasant dream last night. "My dream felt so real. I dreamed of my husband returning to how he used to be." She places her hand on her chest, feeling the happiness from the dream, even though she considers it only a dream. After cleaning herself up, Yin stepped out and descended the stairs. However, she looked puzzled for a moment upon seeing several people in the house. It seemed like they were working inside this house. "What are you all doing here?" One of the workers immediately turned to her. "Mr. Jian assigned us to build an elevator here, madam." "Why is he building an elevator in a two-story house like this?" "So that those living in this house won't have difficulty going up and down the stairs, madam." Hearing this made Yin smile broadly. Wasn't her assumption correct? Jungkook did care for her, even though his attitude had changed. She then proceeded to the dining room, where she met Jungkook, who was focused on his tablet. She walked up to her husband. "Thank you." Jungkook looked puzzled at Yin, who was smiling broadly at him. "What do you mean? Turns out you still care about me. You even built an elevator in the house because I'm pregnant." Quite confident. "The elevator wasn't made for you. Lately, I've just been too lazy to go up and down the stairs." Yin chuckled softly. She knew Jungkook was deliberately hiding his feelings. She understood him well enough now. Her husband was stubborn, arrogant, and used to being respected, which made his ego as high as a mountain. "He said he would treat me badly? Okay, let's see how far he can go. So far, he's just been cold, but I still eat and use all the facilities in this house as I please. In the end, you'll be the one defeated by your own feelings, hubby. I won't let our child's happiness be robbed by not having both parents." Like any other night, Yin waited for her husband's return. Lately, Jungkook had been coming home late, increasing her anxiety. Somehow, she felt uneasy tonight. She breathed a sigh of relief when her husband's car entered the driveway. However, Jungkook didn't come alone. Minju was seen helping him into the house. Yin was surprised to see Jungkook wearing bandages on his body. It was visible because Jungkook had his shirt unbuttoned. Yin immediately approached him, her face filled with concern. "What actually happened? Why is your body covered in wounds like this?" "Jungkook got shot in the shoulder earlier, but it's been treated already, so don't worry." Jungkook nudged Minju's arm when he said that. Meanwhile, Yin covered her mouth with a look of shock. "Now I'll leave Jungkook to you. Take care of your husband properly. Just go already." Yin promptly helped her husband to their bedroom using the newly installed elevator. Once they arrived in the bedroom, Yin gently seated Jungkook on the bed. "I'll fetch the first aid kit." Jungkook, who wanted to stop Yin's action, was deterred as the woman had already left before him. Shortly after, Yin returned to approach him. Yin began to change Jungkook's bandage as blood was seen oozing out again. Yin winced at the wound on her husband's shoulder. It must have been very painful. Yin slowly started to treat it. Meanwhile, Jungkook remained silent, staring at his wife's serious face. "Why are you still doing all this? What do you mean? Why do you still care about me, even though I've been like this to you? You shouldn't have to bother me anymore. What have you actually done to me? You said you would treat me badly. What bad treatment? Is it just your cold attitude? Is that all you can do?" She continued to carefully clean her husband's wound. "I almost made you miscarry. Did you do it on purpose? If you knew I was pregnant at that time, would you have forcefully pulled your hand until I fell like that?" Jungkook remained silent, but his eyes now sharply looked at her, who continued to tend to his wound. "Sorry that my parents betrayed your parents, resulting in both of your parents' deaths. How does it feel? What are you talking about? How did it feel 20 years ago when you lost your parents? Who took care of you after that? At that time, I could be spoiled by my parents. What did you do after your parents died? Surely you were very sad and lonely, right? You don't need to pity me. Of course, I feel sorry for you. What can I do to make you feel satisfied? It's my parents' mistake, and I'll bear your hatred because I'm the only one who can be the outlet for your anger. Why are you just acting cold? Isn't that too easy? You've been through 20 years of tough times. Shouldn't you have locked me up, hit me, tied me up in an empty house? Isn't that what you always do with others who become your enemies after you kidnap them? Do you want me to do that? Do it if you're capable. But the fact remains that until now, I'm still the lady of this house. That means you still care about me. Who cares about you? Hubby, I'm sorry. Huh? Yin looked at his face. She had finished treating her husband's wound. "I'm sorry for everything. Sorry, because of my father. Your parents passed away. I'll apologize on his behalf to you. I don't know what betrayal my father committed, because all I know is that he was a father who always loved me." Yin now gently held his hand. "Once again, I apologize. I apologize on behalf of my father to you for making you suffer all this time." Jungkook was stunned to hear her words. He averted his gaze. A blush was visible on his face. "Enough, I'm going to shower." Jungkook immediately stood up and avoided her, entering the bathroom. Yin immediately pounded on the bathroom door loudly. "Hubby, you can't shower yet. Your wound isn't dry. Open the door right now. Open it now." Yin wanted to stop him, but the man had already entered the bathroom. Inside the bathroom, Jungkook was trying to calm his rapidly beating heart after hearing what Yin had said. Ugh, why did she have to say that? Jungkook calmed his heartbeat, massaging his temples. Meanwhile, outside, Yin continued to pound on the bathroom door, urging her husband to come out. Why is she so noisy? 8 months later, Yin's pregnancy has progressed significantly. Her belly has grown bigger, indicating that she's now in her 8th month of pregnancy. She becomes even more cautious about taking care of her unborn child. During this time, Jungkook's attitude towards her remains cold, though not as harsh as before. Yet, she can still sense that her husband occasionally shows small signs of attention. As they had breakfast together one morning, "Hubby, can you accompany me to the hospital today? I want to check on my pregnancy." "No, bring a maid and some guards to accompany you." Yin can only smile wistfully. Indeed, Jungkook never agrees to accompany her to the hospital for her checkups. Despite his consistent refusal, Yin never tires of asking the same question. "That place is the last place I want to be in the world. Too many painful memories happen there." However, on the way back from the hospital, the car Yin was in was stopped by another car in front of it. Yin was surprised when several people in black suits emerged from the car and approached the vehicle she was in. The guards were ready to shoot, but being outnumbered, they were overpowered and the individuals managed to force Yin out of the car, leaving her shocked by their actions. "What are you doing? Who are you?" A sense of dread began to envelop her as the individuals incapacitated her, causing her consciousness to fade. She faintly heard them mention her husband's name before losing consciousness completely. Elsewhere, Jungkook, who was conducting a meeting at his company, abruptly halted it when Minju approached him, whispering something that caused his eyes to widen in shock. Without waiting any longer, he swiftly exited the meeting room, leaving everyone present there puzzled and staring at their CEO in astonishment. How could Yin be kidnapped? Who did this? Jungkook's face was consumed with a mix of worry and anger after hearing from Minju that his wife had been abducted. It was Bong-hoo. They're demanding that you hand over the chip as ransom for her release. They think I'll just hand it over easily? Jungkook, Do you know Yin's whereabouts? Yes, it's in the pendant Yin was wearing. I installed a tracker there, so I'll know her location. Minju smiled broadly, causing Jungkook to look at his friend in surprise. What's with that expression on your face? I suspected that your love outweighs your vengeance. Enough talking. Contact all the guards to join us immediately. Alright. Jungkook accelerated his car. Please hold on. I'll be there soon. I'll come to get both of you. His grip on the steering wheel tightened, unconsciously. A few tears had already managed to fall down his cheeks. He furrowed his brows, wiping them away roughly. Since when did I start crying? Damn. After locating the location where Yin was being held captive, Jungkook and his men immediately stormed into the enemy's headquarters. He widened his eyes, seeing Yin there unconscious, causing his anger to flare up. He was about to blindly start shooting, but he restrained himself, realizing that taking care of Yin was more important now. I'm taking her to the hospital now. Alright, I'll handle things here. Jungkook nodded quietly and quickly picked up her, making his way out of there. He looked at her with worry, who was still unconscious, until he arrived at the hospital, where the doctors immediately began to attend to his wife. Please, you and Eugene, both of you have to be safe. You both have to be strong. You'll both make it. I know you will. Several hours later, Yin's eyes slowly opened. She looked around and realized she was in the hospital. Yin began to remember the events that had happened to her. She had been kidnapped and forced to drink something. She quickly checked her stomach, and that's when her eyes widened in disbelief as she noticed her stomach was no longer bulging. It can't be. Tears streamed down her face. Her expression turned to frustration as she thought her child was gone. Then, the hospital room door opened, revealing Jungkook standing there. But it wasn't just Jungkook. Her husband was carrying a baby in his arms. Hubby, is that? Jungkook approached with a wide smile and sat down on the patient's bed beside her. Eugene, your mother has woken up. Hubby, is that? Don't you recognize your own child? Yin woke up cautiously, her stomach still feeling sore. Yin began to cry again. Jungkook gently wiped away her tears with his thumb. He placed the baby boy on his wife's lap. Yin looked happily at the baby before her. Why does he look so much like you? Because he's a boy. That's why he resembles me. Right. Eugene? Eugene? I had already chosen his name long ago when we found out he was a boy. Did you prepare a name for him right away? What's wrong? Do you want another name? We can add more names. No, I haven't even thought about a potential name. Okay. Eugene it is then. Jungkook and Yin chuckled at that, but then she remembered something. What happened while I was unconscious? I found out that you were kidnapped and immediately went to save you. When we got here, the doctors advised performing surgery to deliver our child. Even though he wasn't yet 9 months old, he's strong because the doctors injected lung maturity and steroid shots when you arrived at the hospital. You've been taking care of him so well all this time. Jungkook looked sadly at his wife, making Yin look at him in surprise. Why are you looking at me like that? Jungkook now tightly grasped his wife's hand. Yin, forgive me for all my mistakes. I shouldn't have directed all that revenge towards you when you had nothing to do with it. No, hubby, even though I didn't do it, I still bear a moral burden for my parents' wrongdoings, and I must bear that. However, I have a heart, you know. Because of my parents, you had to live without your own parents, and you struggled alone. What you did to me doesn't compare to my parents' wrongdoing to your family. I'm sorry you had to endure such a difficult life. But don't worry, to make up for everything, I promise, after this, you will be happy living with me. Baby. Jungkook immediately pulled his wife's head and gently kissed her forehead, a kiss that hadn't been done for a long time. You're truly a good woman. Actually, when I found out about my parents, I really felt guilty and became a burden to myself. I wanted to be angry for you, but you have more reason and more right to be angry. I'm still grateful you didn't kill me. I am not a heartless demon towards you anyway. And also, we now have a child. I don't want our child to become a victim because of our selfishness. I want to create a beautiful family so that our child is also happy to have both parents. So I beg you. Yin's hand now started to rise and gently touched his chest. Let go of your resentment and revenge here, not because of my parents, but I want your heart to be at ease, hubby. I beg you, forgive all the mistakes of my parents, okay? I promise, after this, you will definitely be happy. Jungkook immediately hugged her tightly. Baby, thank you for being present in my life. I also want to be happy with you. Yin returned her husband's embrace tightly, her tears flowing. She promised to make him happy. She promised to replace his suffering from 20 years ago. She promised Jungkook would live happily with her. Because she had enough heart to do all that,